demonstrate this project here, 105, which has a plain text login. And this app did use plain text login, but last semester, or a couple semesters ago when I was demonstrating it, they finally turned off their server. I think they've abandoned this app long ago, so I had to do a little bit of a workaround to get it to work, as you'll see. So we have downloaded this file. This is the APK file of the app we're going to install, so I just put this in, say, my downloads folder. That's traveler.apk. And I'm just going to replace it, doesn't matter. So if you have an APK file and you want to put it on your phone, this couldn't be simpler. You have Android Studio running, and you have a phone, which you hopefully made in the previous projects. You got a phone, you start up your phone, and your phone is here. So to put an app on the phone, you just drag and drop it on the phone.
May I ask?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty ignorant. When you say
Yeah.
the phone, do you mean this phone or the emulator?
The emulated one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could put it on a real phone too, but for these projects, I would just use the emulator. Okay, so that puts it on the phone. Now, you don't see anything because for some reason, it doesn't put the icon on the home page. You have to drag this circle up, and you'll find it here. It's called Traveler. So I can run it from here. If you click and hold and drag, you can drop it on the desktop too. All right, so now I have an app that I can run on the phone. Now, we have to use a sleazy workaround. We have to use the SDK manager. We're going to use ADB to change the DNS settings on the phone to go to my server instead of the server that's down, so we can see some traffic. So, first thing you have to do is find out where your command line tools are. So that's Tools SDK Manager. In Android Studio, it's Tools SDK Manager. And here, it tells you where the SDK is. It's different on Windows and on the Mac. So you look here, it's in my home folder, Library Android SDK. That's where it is. And we have to use the command line. So I open a terminal, and I go to that location, which is from my home folder, it's CD Library Android SDK. There. Now I'm in the place where the tools live, and if I do ls-l to see the files here, I will see that there is a folder called platform-tools, and that's where I want to be. And now if I do ls, in here is that magic thing ADB that I've been talking about. This is Android Debug Bridge. This is the main thing we're going to use for almost everything in this course. This is the tool that lets you control your phone. So, once you've gotten there, now you can launch ADB, and so I run it with /ADB from here, and I can do version, for example. It tells me which version I have. I don't care which version I have, I just do that to make sure it's working. All right, so now we're going to change the hosts file on the phone. So that is these commands, because the hosts file determines how DNS resolution is done, and I have to trick the phone. It's going to try to contact Traveler 24/7, but that site is down. I'm going to redirect it to my website instead. You can do this on any computer. You can trick it into going to the wrong place if it doesn't make a secure connection. If it makes a secure connection, it will notice and bust you, but this one doesn't. So I run ADB shell. Now I'm on the phone. Now I do SU to move to root. I have to have a rooted phone. So you'll find out in the earlier projects, you make a phone and you can make a rooted phone. And now I can reboot -P. Why would I do that, I wonder? All right. Oh, because you have to write on the system. So you have to do these weird steps. Yeah, reboot -P. Now, bring up the phone so we can see this. All right. That's going to restart the phone. I think we'll see it restart. But anyway, yep, there it is. Now it's going to restart the phone and reboot it into a different condition. I think I'm going to say yes. I think I'll say no. I can't remember whether I say yes or no there. Then I should be able to see the AVDs here, which are Android virtual devices. There, now I have the name of my phone, which is Pixel 3a and all that jazz. Your name will probably be somewhat different, but you do need to know the name of the phone, And now you can launch the emulator with a writable system, so we can modify the operating system. In a normal boot, it won't let you do that. That's why we did all this. And that's the right name. So this is the correct command to launch my phone in a writable mode. All right. And so it's giving me a bunch of warnings and messages as it starts the emulator in this unusual mode that lets you modify the operating system. Looks like it's working. What's that? And so now that's done. And now I need a new terminal, and I need to do ADB root. So I'm going to leave this running because that's running the emulator now. I'll open a new terminal and go to where the tools are, which was library, Android, SDK tools, platform tools. Okay, and now ADB root. Okay, and ADB remount and ADB shell. And now I'm root. When you're root on Linux, you get a pound instead of $. And now I can modify things here. If I do SU, it doesn't do anything because I'm already root. Now I can look at the hosts file. This is the DNS resolution. This is how the internet started. When the internet started, there were only 4 computers on the internet, and they put it in a file called hosts, and they delivered it by mailing floppies around and things like that. And as the internet grew, this is how everybody found all the computers for years, until we got big enough that we invented this system called DNS. Every computer still has the old system in it, in addition to the new one. So you can define something here, and then it will override the network. So I've already made the change here. Here, this command would have done it if I hadn't already done it. I've already done it on this phone. I've added this line. So traveler247.com goes to 1.1.1.1, which is a Cloudflare server. All I care is it's a server that's up. It could be any server. So instead of going to the real Traveler server, which is down, it's going to go to some other server, which is up, so I can see the network traffic. So that's what I want. So now I can run Wireshark. You put it on your host. Wireshark is the tool to inspect network traffic. If you don't want to modify traffic, you just want to see what's going on your network, Wireshark is the main tool for that. And all you do down here, it shows you your adapters, and it shows you a squiggly line by the one that has traffic. So EN0 is my Wi-Fi card. So you double-click the one that has traffic, or you double-click all, which is usually somewhere in this list. That's another way to do it if you have trouble. But anyway, EN0 should do it. Now it's going to show me all the traffic. And as you can see, 500 packets, 800 packets, there's a lot of traffic going out. My network is doing all kinds of things. I don't want to see that, so I filter for HTTP, which is unencrypted web traffic, and almost nobody uses unencrypted web traffic anymore. So that's why there's nothing there. There's thousands of packets going by, 4,800, 5,000, but none of them are HTTP, so I don't see them. So now I can try logging in here with a fake name and password. So I go to my phone, and I launch this thing, and now I try to log in. So I'll be test@aol.com and test pass, just anything for name and password, and log in. And now I see it trying to send that to the server. So I can stop sniffing. It's done what it's going to do. And I'll see a get going there. And you can examine what it did here. That's why you use Wireshark, to examine network traffic. If you go in the middle pane, it lets you see the protocol here. So it sent TCP and Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And here's the get. And you can see right there, it sent this request, which includes my email and my password address right there. So that's the flaw in this app. It sends your password unencrypted over the internet. A very simple flaw, but relatively common. Not as common as it used to be, thankfully. But this is, of course, terrible practice. Nobody should be using this, but people keep using unencrypted protocols like FTP and HTTP. So, and part of this is the flag you'll find. So you find the part that's covered by a green blob, and you put it in as the flag for 105.1. You can take a screenshot and post it in Canvas on the assignment page if you like using Canvas. But if you want to use the automated scoreboard, you just remember this number, M105.1, and you go to the bottom here where you can put flags in. And so you make sure you choose the right project, which is M105, and then the last 4 digits of your student ID or a new account if you made one. And then you put in the flag and you should get your points. And I see that people are doing their projects. I checked this earlier. And as you see, several people have done projects, which is fine. This is most of the points in the class you'll get on this scoreboard, or by turning them into Canvas where they'll get graded by my grader. Either way. So that's it. That's showing you the simplest vulnerability here, plaintext network transmission. All right. That's what I wanted to show you. You do have to have a rooted Android emulator, though. And so you probably will have to do 145 first. 140, you run the emulator, and 141, you connect it to Burp, and you'll have to do 145 first before 105. I hope I put that here. You need a rooted Android emulator. So you will have to do this first, 145. I should probably put that in the due dates for the projects. That's a flaw. I should make this one due before 105. Anyway, in order to make a rooted Android emulator, it's very easy. You make an emulator, what you do is you choose one that doesn't have the Play Store. Google will not let you put the Play Store on a rooted phone because it's too insecure. So when you choose your phone, these ones will be unrooted and these ones are rooted. That's all. Just make another phone an Android emulator, choosing one of the models that doesn't have the Play Store, and it will be rooted. All right, let me see if there are any questions. Need to get an upgrade MacBook. My 12-year-old Mac is so slow. Well, yeah, 12 years might be too much. I had a student asking me earlier if an M1 is good enough, and it absolutely is. I'm using a Mac M1, and it's fine. But yeah, 12-year-old, probably going to be too slow and frustrating. And unfortunately, you cannot put an Android emulator in the cloud. You can go to Google Cloud or Azure, and you can have Windows machines or Linux machines, but I haven't found any cloud service that gives you Android free or at any reasonable price, or for that matter, iOS. It's very annoying. That's why you really have to run Google Android Studio locally to run the emulated phone, which is pretty easy, but you know, people who want to take this course and they have nothing but a Chromebook or something are not going to succeed. They'll have to use the machines in the lab or something. You do have to have a somewhat real computer that can run Android Studio. Anyway, I'm going to stop this recording. I can find the right place to go. Yeah, all right.